ॐ शुक्लाम्भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। अगजाननपद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे। श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे। श्रीहयग्रीवमूर्तये नमः। सरस्वति नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। श्रीमहासरस्वत्यै नमः। उमाकोमलहस्ताब्जसम्भावितललाटकं हिरण्यकुण्डलं वन्दे कुमारं पुष्करस्वजं। வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு ஹரஹரோஹரா. லோகவீரியம் மகாபூஜ்யம் சர்வரக்ஷாகரம் விபும் பார்வதி ஹிருதயானந்தம் சாஸ்தாரம் பிரணமாம்யகம். சுவாமியே சரணமையப்பா. வாகர்த்தாவிவ சம்பிருக்தௌ வாகர்த்த பிரதிபத்தயே ஜகதः பிதரௌ வந்தே பார்வதி பரமேஸ்வரௌ. ஸ்ரீ பார்வதி பரமேஸ்வராभ्यां நமः. कोमलं पूजयन् वेणुं श्यामलोऽयं कुमारकः वेदवेद्यं परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। पीताम्बरं करविराजितचक्रशङ्खकौमोदकी सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायम् अतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातालयेशम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। कृष्णो रक्षतु मां चराचरगुरुः कृष्णं नमस्ये सदा। कृष्णेनैव सुरक्षितोऽहमसकृत् कृष्णाय दत्तं मनः। कृष्णादेव समुद्भवो मम विभो कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं। कृष्णे भक्तिरचञ्चलास्तु भगवन् हे कृष्ण तुभ्यं नमः। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं नम्राणां सन्निधत्ते सततमपि पुरस्तैरनभ्यर्थितानपि अर्थान् कामानजस्रं वितरति परमानन्दसान्द्रां गतिं च। इत्थं निःशेषलभ्यो निरवधिकफलः पारिजातो हरे त्वं क्षुद्रं तं शक्रवाटी ध्रुममभिलषति व्यर्थमर्त्यव्रजोऽयं। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं श्रीभट्टपादम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। वंशी विभूषितकरात् नवनीरधाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलादरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने. കൈരണ്ടും കൂപ്പി ഞാൻ വീണ്ടുമീറക്കുന്നു നീരജലോചന നിന്നോടായി. ഏതീനു മഞ്ഞനെ കുമ്പിടേണ്ടാത്തോരോ രീതിയിൽ നീ എന്നെ പാലിക്കനായി. കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ Krishna Hare Jaya Krishna Hare. Good morning, everyone. Okay, all right, so let's do the review of 60 and 61, right? Yeah, okay. Or 61, yeah, 60 and 61. Maybe Deepa, can you do one? And let's see who I had. And Ravi, you can do one. Whichever one you guys want.
Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Dashakam 60. Madanatura Cheta Sonvaham Bhavadangi Kradayadasya Kamyaya यमुनातटसीं निसैकतीं तरलाक्ष्यो गिरिजां समर्चिचन्
The first, sorry, after the comma, bhavadangri dvaya.
भवदङ्घ्रिद्वय दास्यकाम्यया.
Yeah.
Is this the tune? I forgot. Sorry.
Slightly madanatura chetasonvaham bhavadangri dvaya dasya kamyaya.
Okay. तव नाम कतारतास्तास्समं सदृशः प्रातरुपागताः हा नदीम् उपहारशतैर्पूजयन् दयितो नन्दसुतो भवेदिति इति मासमुपाहितव्रताः तरलाक्षीरभिवीक्ष्यता भवान् करुणामृदुलो नदीतटं समयासित तदनुग्रहेच्छया नियमावसितौ निजाम्बरं तटसीमन्यवमुच्यता सदा यमुना जलखेलनाकुलाः पुरतस्त्वामवलोक्य लज्जिताः त्रपयानमिताननास्वतो वनिता स्वम्बरजालमन्तिके निहितं परिगृह्य भूरुहो विटपं त्वं तरसाधिरूढवान् इह इह तावदुपेत्य नियतां वसनं दृशो यथायथम् इति नम्रमृदुस्मिते त्वयि ब्रुवती व्यामुमुहे वधूजनैः.
And the first line after the comma, vasanam vas sudrusho yathayatam.
वसनं वसुदृशो यथायथम्.
Yeah, and iti narma. You said namra, iti narma. Next line.
इति नर्म मृदुस्मिते त्वयि
Yeah.
ब्रुवती व्यामुमुहे वधूजनैः. अयि जीवचिरं किशोरनस्त्वदासी रवशीकरोषि किम् प्रदिसाम्बरम् अम्बुजे क्षणेति उदितस्त्वं स्मितमेव दत्तवान्.
And the ambujekshaneti and uditas, because it's coming together, we put a plus there. It becomes ambujekshaneti uditas.
I have written it down, sorry. Ambuje kshane you
Ambujekshanet.
Ambujakshane tyuditastvam
Yeah.
smitameva dattavan.
Yeah.
अधिरुह्य तटं कृताञ्जलिः परिशुद्धाः स्वगति निरीक्ष्यताः वसनान्यखिलान्यनुग्रहं पुनरेवं गिरमप्यदा मुदा विदितं ननु वो मनीषितं वदितारस्त्विह योग्यमुत्तरम् यमुना पुलिने सचन्द्रिकाः क्षणदा इत्यबलास्त्वमूचिवान् उपकर्ण्य भवन्मुख्यच्युतं मधुनिष्यन् दिवचो मृगी दृशः प्रणयादयि वीक्ष्यते वदनाब्जं शनकैर्गृहं गताः इति नन्वनुगृह्य वल्लवीः विपिनान्तेषु पुरेव सञ्चरन् करुणाशिशिरो हरे हर त्वरया मे सकलामयावलिम्. कृष्णाय परब्रह्मणे.
Rajesh ji,
Yeah.
in the 7th shloka, after Nastava comma is there, right?
No, that line is also, both those lines are continuous.
Continuous? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Like the first line is together, the second line is together.
Can you chant?
Yeah. Ayi jiva chiram kishoranastava ravashi kim pradishambaram ambujekshanetyuditastvam smitameva dattavan.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Sri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha.
Rajesh, one question.
Yeah.
On the 60th Dasakam and the second second sloka second idla first line prata rupa gataha adla visarga irka
Illa visarga illa. Prata rupagata nadim. No visarga
Okay.
before the na. Okay.
Okay, thank
Sri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Dasakam 61. Tadasya Brinda Vanatodi Durado Vanam Gadastwam Kalugopa Gokulaihi Hridantare Bhaktadarat Vijangana Gadamba Kanu Grahana Graham Vahan Tado Niriksha Sharane Vanantre Kishora Lokam Shuditham Trishakulam Adurato Yagnaparan Vijan Prati Vyasarjayoti Divayacha Nayadan
Di divi yachanayatan.
Vyasarjayo Divi Yacha Nayadan. What is split the Saria put it. Kadeshvado Deshwabitayate Bitam Kumar Keshvo Danaya Shushuprabho Srudistira Apyabinin Yurashrutim Nakinchadu Suscha Mahi Surottamaha Anadarat Kinnadiyo Hi Balakaha Samayayur Yuktamidam Hi Edvasu Chirada Bhakta Kalute Mahishuraha Kadam Gadam Hi Bhaktam Dvaidai Samarpyate Niveda Yatvam Grahani Janayamam Dise Yurantam Karuna Kula Imaha Idismidartram Bavaderida Kadaha Dedaraka Darajanam Yayachire.
The first line after the comma, Disheyurannam, double na there.
Oh. Dishe Yurannam Karuna Kula Imaha Idisminardram Bavaderida Kadaha Daraka Dedaraka Darajanam Yayachire. Grihita Tvai Sampramakulaha Chadurvidam Bhojarasam Pragrihyataha Chiram Drida Dvaprabiloka Nagrahaha Swakair Nirutta Abiturnamayu.
The pause and the tune that off
I felt too.
I think now you can start. Now you can start fresh. It will come because I think one line you were one half.
Oh, okay. So I'll repeat the number 6 again.
No, you got it. It's fine.
Okay.
Keep it, yeah.
Vilola Pinjam Chikure Kapola Yoho Samullasat Kundalam Mishite Nidaya Bahum Suhrutham Sasimanistitam Bhavantam Samaloga Yantaha
Yantat samalokayantataha.
Samaloga Yantataha Tadasa Kashit Vadupaga Grihita Hasta Daidena Yajvana Tadaiva Sanchintya Bhavantam Anjasa Vivesa Kaivalya Maho Kridin Yasau.
I think that's where we stopped. Yeah. Okay. 9 and 10 we'll do. Okay, Bhuvana, you can be a student, and Anu, you can be a student. So stanza 9. आधाय भोज्यान्यनुगृह्यताः पुनः त्वदङ्गसङ्गस्पृहयोज्झतिर्गृहं विलोक्य यज्ञाय विसर्जयन्निमाः चकर्तभर्तॄन् पिता स्वगर्हणान्. So we saw in the last time how, when those Yajwa Patnis, first the boys went and spoke to the people who were performing the yajnas, they didn't get anything. They didn't even listen to them. So then they went to the Yajwa Patnis, who the moment they came to know that Krishna and Balarama have come, they left everything and then they came with the Chatur Vidam. They came with the 4 types of food. And when they all come there and then they see Krishna standing there underneath the tree and everything, and they are all in a state of bliss, right? And we spoke about how they've been eagerly waiting to want to come and meet. So now when they come and meet and then they spend the time there, right, with Krishna and Balarama and all the friends, they give them all the food. They all feel very happy about it that the boys ate. Now, these people who are sitting there just don't want to leave. They just feel like, we've left everything. First of all, they say we have two challenges. They say first is we left against our husband's wishes and our parents' wishes, because these are people of all ages, right? So the people who are there, they told them not to go because the Homam and Yajna is going on. These people said, no, we are going to go. And then they went against their wishes. So they say first challenge we have is, I don't know if they're going to accept us back, because we literally fought with them and came here, right? Number one. And second, they're saying the kind of happiness we are actually getting here just being around Krishna and Balaram and the boys. They say, I don't think we want to go back to our normal life anymore. They're kind of stuck. So they're saying, we don't know what to do. We just want to stay with you. So at that time, Krishna then explains to them that, that even if there are distractions in your life, and this is applicable to everybody, right? He says, even if you have distractions in your life, if you want to do the right thing, which is stay close to Bhagavan, but you cannot abandon your duties and just leave and come, because then it's leftover karma that's eventually going to catch up with you, right? So you have to find a way to do both, right? At the end of the day, especially if you're married and you have family, right? So he says the right thing for you all to do is to go back to your complete the yajna, to go stay with your family, because some of them have children, some of them have brothers and fathers, all ages, right? So the right thing for you is to go back. And then at the same time, he says proximity, which is the same message Krishna is going to tell the Gopikas later also, is physical proximity is not required for somebody to be constantly thinking about anyone, right? You can just sit. And that Vishaka Hari said in her pravachanam the 2 weeks back, she says, don't worry about standing in line in Tirupati. You can just sit here wherever you are, close your eyes, and you can imagine only you next to Venkateshwara, right? Nobody's going to stop you. Nobody's going to say Jariganti. You are just there alone, right? So she says, everything is in the mind. You don't need physical proximity to feel that state of bliss or state of happiness of being with somebody. So Krishna then convinces them. They all go back. And then we can say in the last stanza what the husbands say, what the brahmanas say. But anyway, he convinces them that they have to go back, continue with their life, and not distract, not disturb any of those things. Adaya bhojyan yanugruhya taha put f tah punah, comma twadanga sanga sprihayo jhatir griham Vilokya yajnaya visarjayannimaha, chakarta bhartrunapi tasva garhanan.
Rajeshi, last line split one time solunga.
Visarjayannimaha, then chakarta bhartrunapi tasva garhanan. Adhaya bhojyanyanugrihyatah punah twadanga sangas prihayo jhatir griham vilokya yajnaya visarjayannimaha chakarta bhartrna pita swagarhanan.
आदाय भोज्यान् अनुगृह्यताः पुनः त्वदङ्गसङ्गस् स्पृहयो जदीर्गृहम् विलोक्य यज्ञाय विसर्जयन्निमाः चकर्त भर्तॄन् पिता स्वगर्हणान्.
Bhuvana, on the first line, like Bhojyani Anugrihya, 2 words. Okay, the ni and a becomes nya. So Bhojyan Yanugruhya.
आदाय भोज्यानि अनुगृह्यताः पुनः त्वदङ्गसङ्ग स्पृहयो जदीर्गृहम् विलोक्य यज्ञाय विसर्जयन्निमाः चकर्थ भर्तॄन् पिता स्वगर्हणान्.
And the word can be Bhojyan Yanugruhya. Ya sound. So let me just type it and hold on.
Bhojyan yanu oh.
Bhojyan Yanugruhya.
Oh.
I just typed it close enough in English, but and the Bhojyani and Anugrihya becomes a nya sound. So Bhojyan Yanugruhya.
Okay. Yes.
आदाय भोज्यान् अनुगृह्यताः पुनः त्वदङ्गसङ्गस्पृहयोज्य दीर्घम् विलोक्य यज्ञाय विसर्जयन्निमाः चकर्त भर्तॄन् पिता Karhanan.
Anu, same correction. Bojyanyanugrihya. It's one word. So the Sandhi.
So it's Bojyan Anugrihya.
And the A will go away. It becomes a nya sound. So on the chat, I just check the Zoom chat. I just put a word there. So because those are two different words which get joined in Sandhi, so we cannot quite, you can't separate them like that.
So it's Bojyan Yanu.
Yeah, correct.
So Rajesh, அதோட மீனிங் எப்படின்னு சொல்லுங்களேன். ஆதாய போஜ்யானு just on the apnaka, the contextனால it registers better.
Yeah, sure. So anugrihya is to bless, right? And the bojyani adhaya means having consumed the food and blessing them. Okay, so bojyani adhaya, having consumed the food, anugrihya, right? And then blessing them, right? But more than that, on the Sandhi general Sanskrit, it's like when you say the word they and are, right? When you write it in English, you don't write they and are is not the right, they are, right? You write it that way. So that is the Sanskrit, they're very strict about like merging those words like that, right? So you don't write in the right way, bojyani, anugrihya, although those are the two words. When it gets joined, it becomes one compounded word there.
Hello, Rajesh. And the second charanam and the Sangha Sprisha, adathirma chollinugole.
Twadanga Sangha Sprihayojhatir Griham.
Okay, Sprihayojhati Griham. Okay.
Ij sound is Sprihayojhatir Griham.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Adaya Bojyayanu. Correct?
Bojyanyanu.
Bojyanyanu.
Yeah.
Adaya Bojyanyanu. Punaha Tvatanga Sangas Prahayojadi Griham Vilokya Yanyaya Visarjayan Nimaha Chakatta Bartruna Bidasva Garhanan.
That's it. Nirupya dosham nijamhangana jane bilokya bhaktim cha punar vicharibihi prabhuddha tatvaistomabhishtuto dvijaihi marutpuradhisha nirundi me gadhan. So we saw earlier, right? Those brahmanas, they were so focused on performing the rituals in a ritualistic way. They were so focused on the process of doing things that they forget the bigger intent. And they were just so absorbed in the rules. So now what happens is these brahmanas, to some extent, they're inferring. They come to a realization through inference, right? They say that our wives somehow knew something that we are completely missing. They put two and two together, right? They say that even in the Vedas, it says Bhagavan will always come in the form of somebody, right? And it is up to us to have the knowledge to recognize that it is Bhagavan is come in that form. He says, so it's very potential that this person who they are talking about is Bhagavan who has come in that form. Second, there should have been something in that person because of which our wives completely abandoned the family, left everything they had to go meet those two boys, right? So which means they come to realize that maybe it was indeed Bhagavan, and we were all so narrow-minded, we were so focused on the process that we forgot the true intent behind all of this process, right? So these brahmanas come to the realization as well, and then they say that what is the purpose of this the dvija is like twice born, being born again, because it gives you a chance to really get on the right path. What is the purpose of being that? What is the purpose of being celibate the way they are? What is the purpose of this extensive learning and all these things that they are doing, if when the Bhagavan himself is coming and standing in front of us and we don't recognize it, right? That means it just did not lead us on the right path, right? So they all come to that realization. They realize that thing, and then they kind of accept their wives back. Essentially, they just take them back, saying that it was their mistake. So this one gets, and this again, all of the thing in Krishna Avataram. Not that anybody is saying that doing something is wrong. Nobody is saying don't do homa. Nobody is saying don't do rituals. Nobody is saying don't do anything. All Krishna Avataram will tell every instance of it is, if you do not put bhakti along with it, it is just a process you are following, no matter what you're doing, right? The intent is never there. For it to truly get the intent, it has to be merged with bhakti. Otherwise, it will always remain. Bhakti will supersede that. Somebody can do something like how these women are without any process, without anything. They have pure bhakti. So it says that supersedes everything else that you do. Now, if you combine those two, then it is amplified, right? But without just doing the process, without bhakti, is of no value. Nirupya dosham nijamanga najane, comma, vilokya bhaktim cha punar vicharibihi prabuddha tattvais tvam abhishtuto dvijaihi. So, like I always say, I don't know if I said this before in Tamil, abhishtu means they say it in a bad way, but abhishtu is to bless in Sanskrit. So, tvam abhish or praise. So, they praised you. So, prabuddha tattvais tvam abhishtuto dvijaihi, comma, marutpuradhisha nirundi megata. Guru Arapa, please eradicate my ailments. Nirupya dosham nijamanganajanhe vilokya bhaktim cha punarvicharibihi prabuddha tatvaistvamabhishtuto dvijaihi marutpuradhisha nirundi megadan.
Nirupya dosham nijamanganaajane vilokya bhaktim cha punarvicharibihi prabuddha tatvaistvamabhishtuto dvijaihi marutpuradhisha nirundime gadan. Nirupya dosham nijamanganaajane vilokya bhaktim cha punarvicharibihi prabuddha tatvaistvamabhishtuto dvijaihi marutpuradhisha nirundime gadan.
Nirupya dosham nijamanganaajane vilokya bhaktim cha punarvicharibihi prabuddha tatvais tvamapishtuto dvijaihi marutpuradisha nirunti megadan. Nirupya dosham nijamanganaajane vilokya bhaktim cha punarvicharibihi prabuddha tatvaistvamapishtuto dvijaihi marutpuradisha nirunti megadan.
Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Okay, we'll go to the next Dashakam.
Rajiv, but one thing, Abhishtu
In Vidya?
Abhishtu is something that we use to kind of like, chuma, pasangalam, Abhishtu அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டுவோம். But that doesn't.
அதான் சொல்றேன். அது வந்து நீங்க தமிழ்ல சொல்றீங்களா சான்ஸ்கிரிட்ல சொல்றீங்களான்னு பொறுத்து இருக்கு. If somebody says Abhishtu, you say you can take it in the Sanskrit version. Abhishtu is to praise somebody. But தமிழ்ல வந்து it seems like நம்ம kids திட்டுற மாதிரி, right? Or like kind of not the word curse, but it's kind of in that directional, right? So, but in Sanskrit, when they say Abhishtu, it's to praise. So, if somebody says you that, you can take it as Sanskrit Abhishtu, like praising you. So that's good. Okay, Dashakam 62. So 62, 63, 64 are all kind of like they're one group of Dashakams, So it starts with. And I don't have the name of it because I don't have my book today. I'm traveling, but I'll tell you the name later. But the purpose of this Dashakam is this is where they're blocking the sacrifice to Indra is 62. Then lifting the Govardhana mountain is 63. And Govinda Pattabhishekam is 64. So 63, 63, 64 are three connected Dashakams. The story flows through all three. Okay, stanza 1. Kadachit Gopalhan Bihita Makasambhara Vibhavan Nirikshyatvam Shaure Magavamadamuddhvam Situmanaha Bijanannapyetan Vinayamridunandadipashupan Aprichah Kovayam Janaka Bhavatam Udhyama iti. So one day, all these cowherds, everybody is planning to do some big festival, right? They are going to perform a big yajna to please Indra. And at the same time, Indra, every time a Manu changes, the Indra also changes. Indra is at the title, like a president or a vice president. So his role is different person becomes an Indra. So that's why during the Vamanavataram, Indra was trying to stop Bali Maharaja because Bali was going to do the 100th Ashwamedha Yajna. Same thing happened during Prithu Charitram in Dashakam 18 where he tried to stop. So this Indra, once in a while, he gets this pride in himself, right? Whoever the Indra is. So this Indra, who's at that time, Indra, so he's swelling with pride for whatever reason. So now Krishna says to figure out, I want to somehow calm or quench his pride. So at this time, all these people were getting ready for this big yajna. So Krishna goes and asks his father in a nice way, right? He doesn't go and say, why are you doing all this yajna and all that? Doesn't make sense, you are all wasting your time. He knows. He goes, asks in a proper way, saying, that whatever you're doing right now, what is the purpose of doing that yajna right now, right? And what is the outcome it is intended to achieve, whatever thing you're following? Who is it supposed to satisfy? And he says, I truly want to know it. I truly want to know why you're doing what you're doing, right? And he says, a lot of things we do in this world without knowing, some things we do with knowing. Now, if you do, you're going to get the benefit of it anyways. But if you truly understand why you're doing something the way you're doing, it just amplifies the benefit. So he goes asks in a very genuine way, saying, I truly want to know why you're doing all of these things. Now, if what do you call, Nanda could have just dismissed Krishna, right? Saying, what, we've been doing this, so don't ask me all these questions. But then the way Krishna posed it, saying, I want to truly understand why you're doing, because I also want to participate. And if you can tell me how you're doing, why you're doing, I'll also be able to participate and I want to truly understand. So Nanda says, okay, this boy is coming with genuine intentions, right? So let me tell him why we are doing it. Kadachit Gopalan, Vihita Makha Sambhara Vibhavan, Nirikshya Tvam Shaure, Maghava Madam Udhvamsitu Manaha. You can break it that in there. Madam Udhvamsitu Manaha. Bijanannapyetan, Binaya Mridu Nandadi Pashupan, Aprichaha, put a ih sound, Aprichah Kovayam, Janaka Bhavatam Udyama Iti. So this will follow the tune of the 4-liners, but I don't know if you have it as 4 lines or 2 lines in yours. Kadachit Gopalan Vihita Makasambhara Vibhavan Nirikshyatvam Shaure Magava Madamudhvam Situmanaha Bijanannapyetan Vinayamridu Nandadi Pashupan Aprichah Kovayam Janaka Bhavatam Udhyama Iti.
कदाचित् गोपालान् विहितमखसम्भारविभवान् निरीक्ष्य त्वं शौरे मघवमदमुत्वंसितुमनाः विजानन्नप्येतान् विनयमृदु नन्दादिपशुपान् अपृच्छः को वायं जनकभवदाम् उद्यम इति कदाचित् गोपालान् विहितमखसम्भारविभवान् निरीक्ष्य त्वं शौरे मघवमदमुद्वंसितुमनाः विजानन्नप्येतान् विनयमृदुनन्दादिपशुपान् अपृच्छः को वायं जनकभवदाम् उद्यम इति
कदाचित् गोपालान् विहितमखसम्भारविभवान् निरीक्ष्य त्वं शौरे मघवमदमुत्वंसितुमनाः विजानन्नप्येतान् विनयमृदुनन्दादिपशुपान् अपृच्छः को वायं जनकभवतामुद्यम इति कदाचित् गोपालान् विहितमखसम्भारविभवान् निरीक्ष्य त्वं शौरे मघवमदमुत्वंसितुमनाः विजानन्नप्येतान् विनयमृदुनन्दादिपशुपान् अपृच्छः को वायं जनकभवतामुद्यम इति.
Rajesh?
Yeah?
Hello?
Anchulungo.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, and the last line break நீங்க சொல்ல முடியுமா? Because எனக்கு ஃபுல்லாவே இதுல break காது கேட்கல.
Okay.
Complete cut ஆயிடுச்சு.
Okay. My book has aprichaha. I have a visarga there. So if you have a visarga that takes a h sound, so aprichah kovayam,
Okay.
Janaka bhavatam udyama iti. Okay. Sensitive.
And comma is after vayam.
After vayam, yeah. Kovayam.
Okay.
Bhabhashenantastvam सुतननु विधेयो मघवतो मखो वर्षे वर्षे सुकयति स वर्षेण पृथिवीं नृणां वर्षायत्तं निखिलम् उपजीव्यं महितले विशेषादस्माकं तृणसलिलजीव्या हि पशवः. So Nanda very properly explains to Krishna and everybody else, says that we are all cowherds, which means what is our sustenance based on? Its sustenance is based on cows, right? Now, what do the cows need to survive? The cows need grass to survive. Cows needs other plants and everything to survive. For that to exist, and cows need water. For both of this to exist, it has to rain. And who is the controller of the rain? He says Indra is the controller of the rain. Indra, this is what Nanda is saying, then we'll see what Krishna says. So Nanda is saying Indra is the controller of the rain. So we always worship Indra, and we've been doing this for generations, that every year we worship Indra so that we get rain. Because if it rains, it's all lush. The cows can graze, the cows eat well. If the cows eat well, they give milk, we get milk products. Our sustenance is based on that, right? So anytime we stop doing it, then Indra will get offended, and then we are not going to get rain. Then our entire livelihood is going to get disturbed. So he says that is why we do this every year. We do this yajna to please Indra, who is controller of the rain. Bhabhashe nandastvam, comma, Suta nanu vidheyo maghavato, comma, Makho varshe varshe, comma, Sukhayati sa varshena prithivim, Nrinam varshayattam, comma, Nikhilam upajivyam mahitale, comma, Visheshad asmakam, comma, Trina salila. Some books may have jiva, some books may have jivya. So change it to jivya if you have jiva. So trina salila jivya hi pashavaha. Bhabhashe nandastvam sutananu vidheyo maghavato makho varshe varshe sukayati sa varshena prithivim नृणां वर्षायत्तं निखिलमुपजीव्यं महितले विशेषादस्माकं तृणसलिलजीव्या हि पशवः.
Sorry, Rajesh. One question. First line la videyo magavataha irukku enakku.
Just change it to maghavato. Okay. Sometimes when they end it with visarga, but sometimes it means the same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
बभाषे नन्दस्त्वां सुतननु विधेयो मघवतो मखो वर्षे वर्षे सुखयति स वर्षेण पृथ्वीं नृणां वर्षायत्तं निखिलमुपजीव्यं महितले विशेषादस्माकं तृणसलिलजीव्या हि पशवः बभाषे नन्दस्त्वां सुतननु विधेयो मघवतो मखो वर्षे वर्षे सुखयति स वर्षेण पृथ्वीं नृणां वर्षायत्तं निखिलमुपजीव्यं महितले विशेषादस्माकं तृणसलिलजीव्या हि पशवः.
बभाषे नन्दस्त्वां सुदननु विधेयो मघवतो मघो वर्षे वर्षे सुगयति स वर्षेण पृथिवीं नृणां वर्षायत्तं निखिलमुपजीव्यं महितले विशेषादस्माकं तृणसलिलजीव्या हि पशवः. बभाषे नन्दस्त्वां सुदननु विधेयो मघवतो मघो वर्षे वर्षे सुगयति स वर्षेण पृथिवीं नृणां वर्षायत्तं निखिलमुपजीव्यां महितले विशेषादस्माकं तृणसलिलजीव्या हि पशवः.
Sansatri. Iti shrutva vacham piturai bhavanaha sarasam dhige tanno satyam magavajanita vrishtiriti yate adrishtam jivanham srijati khalu vrishtim samuchitam maharanye vrikshaha kimiva balimindraya dhadate. Very powerful stanza where Krishna is explaining the significance of, all of the things, right? In one stanza, very beautifully. So he says that, he explains it very nicely to his father and to everybody else there. He says, every being in this world takes birth according to its karma. It's going to die according to its karma. Whatever happiness it faces, whatever sorrow it faces, whatever fear, everything that it faces is only because of its karma. There's nobody, nothing else which is influencing that. It's purely because of its karma, right? And he says if somebody is experiencing something, it's forced to experience anything, it is only because of the past karma that the person has created, right? And he says Indra or any demigod, not one person can change the karma of anybody. Only Bhagavan, full primary Bhagavan can change. These demigods, anybody else you worship, or any humans who are there, any saints, they cannot change the karma of anybody. It is just destined, right? You cannot change it. So he says, if karma cannot be changed by anybody, he says, then it's true that we are all, and then he goes on to say that if Indra is responsible for rain, just like everybody has certain functions, right? So they are destined to do that functions. If you're working in a company and if you're in sales, your responsibility is to produce sales. That's what you're getting paid to do that. I don't need to give something extra to incentivize you to do that. That is your duty to do it, right? So Krishna says it's Indra's responsibility to manage the process of rain. It is his duty. You don't have to give him extra commission. You don't have to do him extra offerings. None of that stuff. It is his responsibility. There are certain things in this world which are individual karmas. Like whatever happens to me is purely because of my karma. None of you can influence that. But then we all also have a collective karma. So Krishna says the rain or something, anything which happens together, which impacts people of a region, is purely because of the collective karmas of those people in the region. Certain things can also happen at that level, right? So karma itself is at different levels. What impacts you, what impacts all of us together is one type of karma. So all of us living in Buffalo Grove, there's always some influence of some common karma there, things like that, right? So he explains it very beautifully. And he says, if you always have to go and thank Indra to get rain, he says, Maharanye Vrikshaha. He says, all these trees which live in the forest, which solely depend on rain. Kimiva Balim Indraya Dadate. What do they give Indra every year? Do those trees do any yajnas to Indra? Do those trees do any offerings to Indra or sacrifice to Indra? The trees don't give anything to Indra. But the trees sustain only if it rains. Right? So he says you don't have to pray to Indra to get rain. You will get rain if you are destined to get rain. If you don't get rain, you are not destined to get rain. Whatever happens to you is always destined based on your karma. He says you don't have to worship such intermediary people, right, to get what you want. He says you should always, on the main purpose he's saying he want to tell these people a little bit, get into their head is, when I am there as Krishna sitting next to you, although they don't know it's Bhagavan, right? Even if you don't know I am Krishna, you worship the main deity. Worship the main. When you can have access to the CEO, why are you going through all these intermediary people, and going and telling them to do those things? So don't spend your time and energy worshipping any of the intermediaries. You worship the main person, worship the main God, and everything else that's going to happen is purely because of your karma, which nobody can change. So that's what he's saying. So he says, do not, in the next stanza, he's going to tell what to do. But here he says, don't worship Indra. Don't waste your time worshipping, doing all that. Iti shrutva vacham piturai, comma, bhavanaha sarasam, comma, dhige tanno satyam, comma, maghava janita vrishtiriti yat adrishtam jivanam, comma, srijati khalu vrishtim samuchitam, comma, maharanye vrikshaha, comma, kimiva balim indraya dadate. Iti shrutva vacham piturai bhavanaha sarasam dhige tanno satyam magavajanita vrishtihriti yat adrishtam jivanam srijati khalu vrishtim samuchitam maharanye vrikshaha kimiva balimindrahya dadate.
इति श्रुत्वा वासं पितुरयि भवानाः सरसं दिगे तन्नो सत्यं मघवजनिता वृष्टिरिति यत् अदृष्टं जीवानां सृजति खलु वृष्टिं समुचितां महारण्ये वृक्षाः किमिव बलिमिन्द्राय ददते इति श्रुत्वा वाचं पितुरयि भवानाः सरसं दिगे तन्नो सत्यं मघवजनिता वृष्टिरिति यत् अदृष्टं जीवानां सृजति खलु वृष्टिं समुचितां महारण्ये वृक्षाः किमिव बलिम् इन्द्राय ददते
इति श्रुत्वा वाचं पितुरयि भवानाः सरसं दिगे तन्नो सत्यं मघवजनिता वृष्टिरिति यत् अदृष्टं जीवानां सृजति खलु वृष्टिं समुचितां महारण्ये वृक्षाः किमिव बलिमिन्द्राय ददते इति श्रुत्वा वाचं पितुरयि भवानाः सरसं दिगे तन्नो सत्यं मघवजनिता वृष्टिरिति यत् अदृष्टं जीवानां सृजति खलु वृष्टिं समुचितां महारण्ये वृक्षाः किमिव बलिमिन्द्राय ददते.
इदं तावत् सत्यं यदिह पशवो नः कुलधनं तदा जीव्यायासौ बलिरचलभर्त्रे समुचितः सुरेभ्योऽप्युत्कृष्टाः ननु धरणिदेवाः क्षितितले ततस्तेऽप्याराध्याः इति जगति तत्त्वं निजजनान्. So he says, first he says, you don't have to worship Indra. That's number one. Second, he says, what you said is true. We are completely dependent on the cows because they're cow herds, right? And we live on where do the cows go? He says the cows go to the Govardhana mountain because the Govardhana mountain gives them all the water it needs, all the grass it needs. And the mountain does not expect anything in return. Has the mountain or the tree or the trees or the earth ever said, I'm giving you all this, I need you to pay me something in return? They don't, right? They just selflessly offer everything. So he says the Govardhana mountain is the first thing we have to worship because it selflessly is offering itself. It has the caves where we can take shelter. It is offering the trees. It has streams flowing through it, which we consume, and we do not give it anything in return, right? It's selflessly offering it. So you have to thank the Govardhana mountain. That is the first person to thank. The second ones to thank, he says, are all the holy men who are in that region because they are maintaining the sanctity of the region, making sure everybody is following the right path of dharma. So all the priests and all the religious people who are there, because if they stop doing what they are doing, then everybody is just going to go havoc and there'll be no guidance, right, of how to follow a spiritual path. So he says all the holy people who are there. Then the third are the cows themselves. Because the cows, tomorrow the cows cease to exist, these people will cease to exist. They will have no livelihood. So we have to thank the cows. So he says you don't have to offer any three of these people bribes to say, here, take some and give me something in return. You thank all three of these people, saying you all three are doing selfless jobs. So we all are thankful to you for everything you are doing. So he says that's what we need to do. So whatever food you are going to be cooking to offer to Indra, cook all of those food. Not that any of these people care about the food, but it's like our way of expressing that happiness or thanks, right? So you cook all this food, and then we are going to first to do puja to, we're going to invite the right priests. They're going to do all the stuff. We'll first make sure we thank the priests. We do it. We thank the cows. We then thank the Govardhana mountain. Then you feed everybody else in this region who doesn't have any food. Like there are a lot of people who are beggars who don't have anything. We feed all of them, and only then we all eat. So Krishna is very clearly saying what they have to do. What you don't do is don't pray to Indra and bribe him. Instead, thank all these people, offer food to everybody who needs food, and then finally we do. He says, if you do these things, then you're doing the right thing. And the goodness of doing this and the thankful will help us in a positive way. So he's telling that's what you need to do here. Bhavat vacham shrutva, comma, sorry, idam thavat satyam, comma, yadiha pashavo naha, put the ich sound, pashavo nah kuladhanam, Tada jivya yasau, and then that line is going to be together. Tada jivya yasau balira chala bhartre samuchitaha. So that line is continuous. Surebhyopyutkrushtaha. Again, if you have surebhyopi utkrishtaha, if you have that, any of you have it, it's the P and U becomes a Pu there sound. So surebhyopyutkrushtaha, comma, nanu dharani devaha. That visarga you have to say because ksha is coming later. So nanu dharani devaha kshititale, comma, tataste pyaradhyaha, one word, comma, iti jagadita tvam nija janan. Idham tavat satyam yadiha pashavo nah kuladhanam tadha jivyayasau bhalirachala bhartre samuchitaha surebhyopyutkrushtaha nanu dharani devaha kshititale tataste pyaradhyaha iti jagadidatvam nijajanan.
Idam ta
Sorry, on the first line, Pashavo Kaparam Naha Vanda Ha Varma illa.
H sound, ha, nah kuladhanam.
Okay, thank you.
idam tavat satyam yadiha pashavo nah kuladhanam tada jivyayasau balirachala bhartre samuchitaha surebhyoप्युत्कृष्टाः ननु धरणि देवाक्षितितले ततस्ते प्याराद्याः इति जगति त्वं निजजनान्.
Go on the
Idam
third line. Nanu dharani devaha. That visarga you have to say.
Yes. Idam tavat satyam yadiha pashavo nah kuladhanam tada jivyayasau balirachala bhardre samuchitaha surebhyo yutkrishtaha nanu dharani devaha shititale tataste pyaradhya iti jagatita tvam nijajanan.
Fourth line. Tataste pyaradhyaha. There's a visarga. If you don't have it, just add a visarga there.
idam tavat satyam yadiha bashavo nah kulathanam tada jivyayasau balirachala patre samuchitaha surebhyoप्युत्कृष्टाः नानुतरनि देवाः क्षितितले तदस्ते प्याराद्याः इति जगति दत्वं निजजनान् इदं तावत् सत्यं यदिह पशवो नः कुलतनं तदा जीव्यायासौ बलिरचलपत्रे समुज्जितः सुरेभ्योऽभ्युत्कृष्टाः नानुतरनि देवाः क्षितितले तदस्ते प्याराद्याः इति जगति दत्वं निजजनान्.
We'll switch halfway. Usha, you can be a student, and Vidya Medal, you can be a student. The stanza 5. Bhavat vacham shrutva bahumati yutastepi pashupaha dvijendranarchanto balimadaduruchaihi kshitibhrite vyaduh pradakshinyam subrishamanamannadharayutaha tvamhadashailatma balimakilama purataha. So when Krishna says that, the most important thing is all those people recognize the value. They don't say it's a 8-year-old boy who's coming and giving me advice. The advice sounded logical, right? So all these people met and said, whatever he says makes sense. Why do we have to worship Indra here? So they all agreed for that. And they said that's the new process. We are not going to worship Indra anymore. And then they arrange for this big festival where they get all these things. They invite the Brahmanas, and then they do the necessary rituals against it. They thank the Brahmanas. They offer them that. They thank the cows, more like a thanksgiving. They thank the cows there and worship the cows. And then they now offer all of this to Govardhana mountain. So I don't know how many of you have heard the word Annakut that they perform. We do it in the Grace Lake Temple. I'll let you know when it happens next time, where they have like 56, it's also called Chappan Bhog. They have 56 varieties of items which they arrange, different kinds of food items, right? So that's what they end up doing to Govardhana mountain, right? They offer that as a thanks, not that, no, these people know that Govardhana is not going to come and eat, right? But they are offering it as a thanks to Govardhana mountain, offering it as a thanks to the priests and the cows and everything. Now here, beautifully, Krishna realizes that how do I make these people believe that Govardhana mountain is actually accepting these things? Because it's a mountain, right? It's a physical thing. Humans, they can see it. Cows, they can see them eating these things. But he wants them to trust, because Govardhana, like we said before, is a very powerful, it's like Tiruvannamalai, right? The mountain there. So it's Govardhana is a very powerful thing. So what Krishna, you do is you become like the Govardhana mountain and you end up consuming some food yourself. But the people think Govardhana mountain, it is going to come in the next stanza, but they think Govardhana is consumed, but you end up consuming it as Govardhana. That's what they say, that Govardhana mountain is same as Krishna, just like how Naimisharanyam forest is Krishna. You cannot separate the forest from the god. The forest itself is Krishna. Here, this Govardhana mountain itself is Krishna, because Krishna took that form to consume the food that they had offered, the annakud that they offered. Bhavat vacham shrutva, bahu matiyutastepi pashupaha. If you have matiyutaha, then it becomes a is sound there. Bahu matiyutastepi pashupaha, dvijendran archanto, balim adaduruchaihi. That visarga, you have to say it because ksha is coming later. Balim adaduruchaihi kshitibrite. Vyaduhu, put a F, Vyaduf Pradakshinyam, Subhrisham Anamannadharayutaha. You can break it that ma if you want. Subhrisham Anamannadharayutaha, Tvamadaha. You can put a ish to join. Tvamadash Shailatma, Balimakhilam Abhira Purataha. Breaking at the ma. Balimakhilam Abhira Purataha. Bhavat vacham shrutva bahumatiyutastepi pashupaha dvijendran archanto balimadaduruchaihi kshitibrite vyaduf pradakshinyam subrishamanamannadharayutaha tvamādashailatma balimakhilamabhira purataha.
भवद्वाचं श्रुत्वा बहुमतियुतास्तेऽपि पशुपाः द्विजेन्द्रानर्चन्तो बलिम् अदरुचैः क्षितिभृते व्यदुः प्रादक्षिण्यं सुभृशमनमन्नादरयुताः त्वमादशैलात्मा बलिमखिलमाभीरपुरतः.
Usha, to the second line. Balim adaduruchaihi. Balimadadaruchaihi. The word.
Balimadadaruchaihi.
Adaduruchaihi.
Balim adaduruchaihi.
Correct. And then, okay, the fourth line. Anyway, keep going. I'll tell it if it's needed.
Pavadvacham shrutva bahumatiयुतास्तेऽपि पशुपाः द्विजेन्द्रानर्चन्तो बलिमददुरच्छैः क्षितिभृते व्यदुः प्रादक्षिण्यं सुभृशमनमन्नादरयुताः त्वमादशैलात्मा बलिमखिलमाभीरपुरतः.
भवद्वाचं श्रुत्वा बहुमतियुतास्तेऽपि पशुपाः द्विजेन्द्रानर्चन्तो बलिमददुरुच्चैः क्षितिभृते व्यदुः प्रादाक्षिण्यं सुभृशम् अनमन्नादरयुताः त्वमादशैलात्मा बलिमखिलमाभीरपुरतः.
It's fine. I'd call Vidya medal, but you can continue.
Oh, Vidya. Oh, sorry. Yes.
That's okay. No, that's if, or yeah. I'll pick you next time, Divya. Sorry.
Yes. I heard Divya. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I said Vidya medal because I know there are two Vidyas there. I was trying to avoid that confusion.
भवद्वाचां श्रुत्वा बहुमतियुतास्तेऽपि पशुपाः द्विजेन्द्रानर्चन्तो बलिमददुरुच्चैः क्षितिभृते व्यदुः प्रादक्षिण्यं सुभृशम् अनमन्नादरयुताः त्वमादः शैलात्मा बलिमखिलम् आभीरपुरतः भवद्वाचां श्रुत्वा बहुमतियुतास्तेऽपि पशुपाः द्विजेन्द्रान् अर्चन्तो बलिमददुरुच्चैः क्षितिभृते व्यधुः प्रादक्षिण्यं सुभृशम् अनमन्नादरायुताः त्वमादः शैलात्मा बलिमखिलम् आभीरपुरतः.
First line, second time you said Shrutvaha. There's no Visarga there, just Shrutva on the first line. Okay. Go ahead, Sita, or somebody.
No, I was asking the same thing. That's you correct.
Yeah. I think second time she said Shrutvaha is just a mistake. Yeah. Stanza 6. Avochaschaivam tan kimiha vitatham me nigatitam girindro nanveshaha swabhalamupabhunkte swabapusha ayam gotro गोत्रद्विषिच कुपितो रक्षितुमलं समस्तान् इत्युक्ताः जहृषुरखिला गोकुलजुषः. So, the Krishna then he consumes, he says, don't worry about anything. He says the Govardhana mountain has been protecting us for all, it's been there for such a long time. So it says it will protect us all. Just like how it is helping our cows today, it is also being a shelter to us today. So don't worry about it. Just be confident, nothing will happen, right? And then even if Indra comes to attack or anything, the Govardhana mountain will protect. So he's kind of already prepping them up, saying even if Indra does something, Govardhana will take care of us. So with this, he just convinces all these Gopas, and then they finish that Annakud, they finished all that events, and then they all go back to their respective homes. Avochesh chaivam than, comma, 1 second. Kimiha bitatam me nigatitam girindro nanveshaha. So put a visarga there, you may not have it. Put a visarga nanveshaha. Swabhalim, comma, swabhalim upabhunkte swavapusha. Ayam gotro, comma, gotra dvishi cha kupito rakshitu malam. Samastan ityukta, comma, jahrushu rakhila gokula jushaha. I have a feeling it is ityuktaha, but I'll confirm later. I don't have my book today.
Last line is solungo.
Samastan ityukta, comma, Jahrushu Rakila. And the R, if you want to break it, you can break it. Jahrushu Rakila Gokula Jushaha.
Rajeshkar, I have a question.
Ityuktva.
Huh?
My book has Ityuktva.
Yeah.
It's let me just check 1 second. I didn't get my book today. It's Ityukta. Ik and tha.
No, there is no va.
There is no va there. Ik and tha in Sanskrit. Tya, ikta, ityukta. I think it's ityuktaha, but I'll confirm after the class.
So Rajeshkar, I have a question. So the last line, is it samastan? Can we say samastan nityuktaha?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'll confirm that thing because I think it is ityuktaha, but my book, but the script I have today does not have it. But from what I remember, it is ityuktaha. So I'll just
couple more
Visarga illa.
ஆமாமா பட் அங்க காமா போட்டதனால ஐ திங்க் இந்த விசர்கா வரும்னு நினைக்கிறேன் பட் நான் கன்ஃபார்ம் பண்றேன் அத
இருக்கு ராஜேஷ் ஜி இருக்கு கிருத்திகா நோட் பண்ணி வச்சிருக்கேன்
கிருத்திகா நோட் பண்ணிருக்கா இல்லையா ஓகே then it is there ityuktaha that's what I remember that there was a visarga there so thanks Hari
and then is there a comma after nigaditam first line
end of every line yes end of every line there's a comma
and then there's a comma after girindro nanveshaha
yes
and then the next word
correct
Swabalimupabhukte.
So all of you just add the visarga after ityuktaha okay because you are putting a comma there it gets a visarga same as nanveshaha
and on the third line la vandu kupiteya kupitova
Hari and the Kritika enna potrukka adla Kupite தான் இருக்கு எனக்கு. I don't think it's kupito.
Gotra Dvishita Kupite Rakshitu Malam.
Kupite Rakshitu Malam. Yeah, kupite தான்.
Okay, thank you.
And the I am gotro அப்புறம் கமா இருக்கா?
ஆமா, அந்த லைன்ல after go through the comma is there. Yeah. Okay. Avochaschaivam tan kimiha vitatham me nigatitam girindro nanveshaha swabhalimupabhunkte swavapusha ayam gotro gotradvishisha kupite rakshitumalam samastanityuktaha jahrushurakhila gokulajushaha.
अवोचश्चैवं तान् किमिह विदथं मे निगदितं गिरीन्द्रो नन्वेषः स्वबलिमुपबभुङ्क्ते स्ववपुषा अयं गोत्रद्विषि च कुपिते रक्षितुमलं समस्तानित्युक्ताः जहृषुरखिला गोकुलजुषः अवोचश्चैवं तान् किमिह विदथं मे निगदितं गिरीन्द्रो नन्वेषः स्वबलिमुपभुङ्क्ते स्ववपुषा अयं गोत्रद्विषि च कुपिते रक्षितुमलं समस्तानित्युक्ताः जहृषुरखिला गोकुलजुषः.
अवोचश्चैवं तान् किमिह वितथं मे निगदितं गिरीन्द्रो नन्वेषः स्वबलिम् उपभुङ्क्ते स्ववपुषा अयं गोत्रद्विषि च कुपिते रक्षितुमलं समस्तान्युत्युक्ताः जहृषुरखिला गोकुलजुषः. अवोचश्चैवं तान् किमिह वितथं मे निगदितं गिरीन्द्रो नन्वेषः स्वबलिम् उपभुङ्क्ते स्ववपुषा अयं गोत्रद्विषि च कुपिते रक्षितुमलं समस्तानित्युक्ताः जहृषुरखिला गोकुलजुषः.
परिप्रीता याथाः खलु भवदुपेता व्रजजुषो व्रजं यावत्तावन् निजमखविभङ्गं निशमयन् भवन्तं जानन्नप्यधिकरजसाक्रान्तहृदयो न सेहे देवेन्द्रः त्वदुपरचितात्मोन्नतिरपि. So now everybody goes back. They're all happy. They all feel like they've all done the right thing finally. They've been worshipping the wrong person all these days, right? And so everything is fine. So now when Indra comes to know that his sacrifice has been obstructed. Now, well, Indra and Brahma, like we discussed in Dasakam 51, 52, they all were the original ones who went in Dasakam 37 to go pray to Narayana saying, I need you to help. And then he says, I myself, I'm going to come in full potency and do it. But sometimes over time, you lose the context of things. Just like how Brahma is like, okay, said it is Krishna is the avataram he's going to take, but he's a small cowherd boy. Why is he not coming like Narasimha or Vamana, suddenly instantly growing up big in size, instantly taking care of all of these things? He's behaving like a small cowherd boy, doing all the things that the small boys do. So Brahma wanted to test him in 51, 52. Similarly, Indra is not convinced. Is this truly that Bhagavan who was incarnated? Because he is doing all the things normal humans do. So, and then he says, that he's getting very upset about it, right? And his Rajo Guna, I think, intensifies. And he says that I'm going to teach a lesson because how can somebody stop what is, instead of praising me, I'm supposed to be praised. But instead they have stopped doing this. So Indra gets very offended right now. Pariprita yathaha, khalu bhavadupeta vraja jusho, vrajam yavat tavan nijamakha vibhangam nishamayan. So that line is continuous. Bhavantam jhanannapyadika rajasakranta hridayo, again that line is also continuous, pause near the end. Rajasakranta hridayo na sehe devendraha, Tvadupa rachitat monnatirapi. You can break it that it depending on how your text is. Tvaduparachitaat monnatirapi. Pariprita yathaha khalu bhavadupeta brajajusho brajam yavattavan nijamakha vibhangam nishamayan bhavantam janannapyadika rajasa kranta hridayo nasehe devendraha tvaduparachitaatmonnatirapi.
ராஜேஷ்ஜி அந்த செகண்ட் லைன்ல யாவத்தா வத்துன்னு போட்டிருக்கு புக்ல.
That will take a in sound because na is coming later, so that it becomes yavattavan nija maka.
Okay, and the hridayah should
Hridayo. Oh, change it to hridayo. Anytime if you have yaha and I'm saying yo, just change it. That it means the same thing. Other than the just different rules. So.
Okay, thank you.
So அந்த ஹிருதயோக்கு அப்புறம் அங்க ஸ்டாப் பண்ண கூடாதா?
அங்க காமா இருக்கு. ஹிருதயோ ரஜசாக்ராந்த ஹிருதயோ end of the line comma.
परिप्रीता याताः खलु भवदुपेता व्रजजुषो व्रजं यावत्तावन्निजमख विभङ्ग निशमयन् भवन्तं जानन्यप्यधिकरजसा क्रान्तहृदयो न सेहे देवेन्द्रः त्वदुपरचितात्मा मोन्नतिरपि परिप्रीता याताः खलु भवदुपेता व्रजजुषो व्रजं यावत्तावन्निजमख विभङ्ग निशमयन् भवन्तं जानन्यप्यधिकरजसा क्रान्तहृदयो न सेहे देवेन्द्रः त्वदुपरचितात्मोन्नतिरपि.
Usha, third line. Bhavantam janannapyadika rajasakranta hridayo.
Bhavantam janannapyadika.
Yeah, correct. Janannapyadika rajasakranta. Yeah.
So Rajasa kapram comma unda.
அது அந்த சான்ஸ்கிரிட்ல அந்த டபுள் எஸ் சிம்பிள் வந்துருது. So ஆக்ராந்த. So அதனால அந்த word will come together. Rajasakranta hridayo.
Rajasakranta. Okay.
परिप्रीता याताः खलु भवदुपेता प्रजजुषो प्रजं यावत्तावन्निजमखविभङ्गं निशमयन् भवन्तं जानन्नप्यधिकरजसा क्रान्ता हृदयो न सेहे देवेन्द्रः त्वदुपरचितात्मोन्नतिरपि.
तदुपरचितात् it रचितात् मोन्नतिरपि.
रचितात् मोन्न. Okay, रचितात् मोन्नतिरपि. Okay. परिप्रीता याताः खलु भवदुपेता व्रजजुषो व्रजं यावत्तावन्निजमख विभङ्गं निशमयन् भवन्तं जानन्नप्यधिकरजसा क्रान्ता हृदयो न सेहे देवेन्द्रः त्वदुपरचितात् मोन्नतिरपि.
Third line, the kranta, just before the word hridayo, I think we're adding an extra a there. Rajasakranta hridayo.
Rajasakranta hridayo.
Yeah. Sanjay. Manusyatvam yato madubhidapi deveshva vinayam vidhatte chet nashtastridasha sadasam kopi mahima tatascha dhvamsishye pashupahatakasya shriyamiti pravrittastvam jetum sakilamagavadurmadanidihi. So Indra is so offended. He says, these ordinary cowherd people, they have just suddenly become very prosperous over the last few years. And that prosperity has kind of created more pride in those cowherd people, that they are actually now believing that they can take shelter under a small boy, a small human boy, and then oppose me as Indra. And then he says, even if it is Vishnu who has taken that boy form, if the precedent is set that you don't have to worship Indra, then nobody in the future is going to worship Indra, right? So he says it is setting a wrong precedent for all the demigods that they are going to stop worship, because Indra is the head of the gods. So he says of the demigods. So he says he cannot set that precedent that way. So he says, because of that, he gets very angry and he gets very offended by it. So he says, I am going to go and teach all of these people a lesson, right? That you cannot stop worshipping Indra, and that cannot be the plan going forward. So, Manushyatvam yato, comma, Madhubhidapi Deveshwa Vinayam Vidhatte Chet. So, because we're going to pause there, if you have an in, now it becomes a it, the part of your previous stanza thing there. Vidhatte Chet, put a it and a comma. Nashtas Tridasha. If you have Nashtaha by any chance, put a is to join. Nashtas Tridasha Sadasam Kopi Mahima. Tatascha Dhvamsishye, comma, Pashupa Hata Kasya Shriyamiti, comma, Pravrittastvam Jetum, comma, Sa Khila Maghava Durmadha Nidihi.
Sorry, Rajesh. And the third line, Tatascha Dvamsishye.
Yeah.
Pashupa
Hata
Hatakasya dane.
Hata Kasya Shriyamiti.
Okay. Pashupa Hatakasya. Okay, thank you.
Manushyatvam hyato madhubhidapi deveshva vinayam vidhatte chet nashtas sadasam kopi mahima tatascha dhvamsishye pashupahatakasya shriyamiti pravrittastvam jetum sakila maghava durmadanidihi.
मनुष्यत्वं यातो मधुभिदपि देवेष्वविनयं विधत्ते चेत् नष्टस्त्रिदशसदसां कोऽपि महिमा ततश्च ध्वंसिष्ये पशुपहतकस्य श्रियमिति प्रवृत्तस्त्वां जेतुं स किल मघवा दुर्मदनिधिः मनुष्यत्वं यातो मधुभिदपि देवेष्वविनयं विधत्ते चेत् नष्टस्त्रिदशसदसां कोऽपि महिमा ततश्च ध्वंसिष्ये पशुपहतकस्य श्रियमिति प्रवृत्तस्त्वां जेतुं स किल मघवा दुर्मदनिधिः.
मनुष्यत्वं यातो मधुभिदपि देवेष्वविनयं विधत्ते चेत् नष्टस्त्रिदशसदसां कोऽपि महिमा ततश्च ध्वंसिष्ये पशुपहतकस्य श्रियमिति प्रवृत्तस्त्वां चेतुं सकलो मघवा दुर्मदनिधिः.
Sakila Maghava.
सखिल मघवा. मनुष्यत्वं यातो मधुभिदपि देवेष्वविनयं विधत्ते चेत् नष्टस्त्रिदशसदसां कोऽपि महिमा ततश्च ध्वंसिष्ये पशुपहतकस्य श्रियमिति प्रवृत्तस्त्वां जेतुं सकिल मघवा दुर्मदनिधिः.
त्वधावासं हन्तुं प्रलय जलदानं भरभुवि प्रहिन्वन् बिभ्राणः कुलिशमयमभ्रे भगमनः प्रतस्तेन्यैः अन्तर्दहनमरुदाध्यैर्विकसितो भवन्मायानैव त्रिभुवनपते मोहयतिकम्. So Indra now decides that I'm going to go with my full force, right, to then go cause destruction in that Vrindavan, because they've been upset against me, and then he then gets ready to go do that. So at this time, all the other demigods who are there, they are all going and telling Indra, what are you doing? This is not the right thing, because sometimes when you're so rajas, when you're filled with so much desire and passion to do something, no matter what anybody else says, we feel we are right, which is what Indra is feeling. They're all telling you're going to do a wrong thing. But Indra says, no, I am very determined in this. They've insulted me and I got to go teach all those people a lesson. and then I'm going to go and just flood that entire region out, right? So that they all surrender to me and they never repeat this thing again. So with that, and then here Bhattaripat says, your Maya, the illusion that it is me, which we all have, right? That it is I who is doing it. It is because of me that everything is working. I am the one who's responsible for everything, which even the demigods also have those illusions. So even Indra is having that illusion that I am the best here. I am the controller of all of these things. So he says even the demigods are under that illusion, because of which they end up doing stupid things, right? So which is what Indra is going to do right now. So he then decides, because he's bound by it, he then decides to go and destroy that entire area right now. Twadhavasam hantum, pralaya jaladanambara bhuvi, prahinvan bibhranaha, kulishamayam abreba. You can break it that ma if you want. Kulishamayam abreba gamanaha, pratastenyehi, antar dahana marudadhyair vikasito, bhavan maya naiva, tribhuvana pate mohayati kam. Twadhavasam hantum pralaya jaladanam barabhuvi prahinvan bibhranaha kulishamayam abre bhagamanaha pratastinyehi antardahana marudadhyair vikasito bhavan maya naiva tribhuvana pate mohayati kam.
त्वदावासं हन्तुं प्रलयजलदानम्बरभुविः प्रहिन्वन् बिभ्राणः कुलिशमयम् अभ्रिभगमनः प्रतस्तेन्यैः अन्तर्दहनमरुदादैर्विहसितो भवन्मायानैव त्रिभुवनपते मोहयति कम्. त्वदावासं हन्तुं प्रलयजलदानम्बरभुविः प्रहिन्वन् बिभ्राणः कुलिशमयम् अभ्रिभगमनः प्रतस्तेन्यैः अन्तर्दहनमरुदादैर्विहसितो भवन्मायानैव त्रिभुवनपते मोहयति कम्.
Usha, the first line end ambara bhuvihi. There is no visarga there, just ambara bhuvi.
Oh, no visarga. I thought I would.
And
okay.
the second line, kulishamayam abrebha gamanaha.
It's okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So do we have to break it or we can say
No, if you can say it together, but if you're breaking it, I think that abreba, she said something slightly different. So
okay. Twadavasam hantum pralaya jaladanambara bhuvi prahinvan bibhranaha kulishamayam abhre bhagamanaha pratasthenya nyaihi, right?
Yeah. If you don't have if you have a ra there, sorry, I didn't say. If you have a ra there, that ra goes away, it becomes a visarga. Anyehi and then antardagana. Or some books may already have the visarga. So
pratasthenyaihi antardahana marudadairvihasito bhavanmayanaiva tribhuvanapate mohayatikam. Twadavasam hantum pralaya jaladanambara bhuvi prahinvan bibhranaha kulishamayam abhre bhagamanaha pratasthenyaihi antardahana marudadairvihasito bhavanmayanaiva tribhuvanapate mohayatikam.
Surendra kruddhaschet dvijakarunaya shailakripayapi anatankosmakam niyata iti vishwasya pashupan aho kinhayato giribhiditi sanchintya nivasanne marudgehadhisha pranudamuravairhin mamagadhan. So Krishna is waiting, because he knows Indra is going to come. He's going to flood this entire region. So he has to prep these gopas and everybody to know what is going to be coming. So he keeps telling them, don't worry, like whatever you're done is the right thing. Sometimes you do some things and you worry, did they actually do the right thing? He says, you did the right thing. You just have to have the faith and the confidence about it. And even if anything happens, remember, Govardhana is there to protect us. So he keeps prepping them up for it. And then Krishna, you are also waiting for Indra to now come and flood the entire area. So with this Dashakam comes to an end. Guru Arapa, please eradicate my ailments. Surendraha, put a ih sound. Surendrah Kruddhaschet, comma, Dvija Karunaya Shaila Kripayapi. So put a P at the end of that line, comma. So both the Shaila, both the mountain as well as the Dvija, as well as the Brahmanas, I think both of them will protect us. Kripayapi, comma. Next line, if you have the Pya, that becomes a A sound. So Anathankosmakam, comma. Anathankosmakam, comma, Niyata iti Vishwasya Pashupan. Aho Kinnayato Giribhiditi, comma, Sanchintya Nivasanne, comma, Marudgehadhisha, comma, Pranuda Muravairin Mamagadan. Surendra Kruddhaschet Dvijakarunaya Shailakripayapi Anatankosmakam Niyata iti Vishwasya Pashupan Aho Kinnayato Giribhiditi Sanchintya Nivasanne Marudgehadhisha Pranuda Muravairin Mamagadan.
So the kinna yato kapra comma va?
Giri Bhiditi kapra comma.
Rajesh, can I chant first? I have to leave.
Sure, go ahead, yeah.
Surendra Kruddhaschet Dvijakarunaya Shaila Krupayapi Anatam Kosmakam Niyata iti Vishwasya Pashupan Aho Kim Nayato Giribhiditi Sanchintya Nivasan Marudgehadhisha Pranudamuravairin Mamagadan. Surendra Kruddhaschet Dvijakarunaya Shaila Krupayapi Anatankosmakam Niyata iti Vishwasya Pashupan Aho Kim Nayato Giribhiditi Sanchintya Nivasan Marudgehadhisha Pranudamuravairin Mamagadan. Krishna.
Surendra Kruddhaschet Dvijakarunaya Shailakrupayapi Anatankosmakam Niyata iti Vishwasya Pashupan Aho Kinnayato Giribhidati Sanchintya Nivasan Marudgehadhisha Pranudamuravairin Mamagadan.
The third line, like Kinnayato Giribhiditi, and then the pause. Okay, no pause after Kinnayato.
Surendra Kruddhaschet Dvijakarunaya Shailakrupayapi Anatankosmakam Niyata iti Vishwasya Pashupan Aho Kinnayato Giribhiditi Sanchintya Nivasan Marudgehadhisha Pranudumuravairin Mamagadan.
Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Stop here today. Sandhanandhavabodhatmakamanupamitam kaladeshavadibhyam nirmuktam nityamuktam nigamashata Syamanam aspashtam drishtamatre punurupurushartatmakam brahmatattvam tattavad bhati sakshat guru pavanapure hanta bhagyam jananam kayena vacha manasendriyerva buddhyatmana va prakrite swabhavat karomi yatyat sakalam parasmai narayanaayeti samarpayami. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.